Hello traders. In this video I'm going to share with you my trading day on Nasdaq futures during the New York session and how to take advantage of my A plus setup using pure price action. So here we have the hourly chart, 1 hour chart, and as you can see we have been on this massive uptrend for months now, right? So the overall bias based on the daily chart alone, weekly chart, is bullish. However, as you can see here, we are on a pretty clear downtrend since August 13th. I think it was Wednesday last week, okay, when this started. So we're probably coming down. We already broke past the 100 EMA, exponential moving average, and potentially we're moving down to touch this bottom of the trend line, okay? So from my perspective, the day was already kind of bearish if you just judge by this trend line that's happening here inside the major uptrend, okay? Corrections are always going to happen, right? And as a day trader, you're looking to take advantage of those small price movements, right? So anyway, let me switch now to the 5,000 tick chart, which is where I take my trades most of the time. And here you're going to see that, again, assuming we have a bearish bias, okay, for this session, there was also no news events worth noting today, okay? So that by itself usually gives you a sense that it's going to be a slow, potentially choppy day. The only news that are worth mentioning are going to happen on Wednesday, Thursday, and some news as well, events on Friday, okay? So most likely tomorrow is going to be a slow day as well, okay? Today was fairly slow overall, okay? So the way I approach the markets, I like to take the levels, okay? Some institutional levels. So if I even go zoom out this chart, you're going to see that I have here the weekly levels, okay? This is the entire past week level, okay? This is the high of the previous week and the low of the previous week. You're always going to take this in consideration because, first of all, this is going to be extremely important levels, okay? So if price comes back here, you can expect that a lot of times you're going to get some interesting signals, okay, to take trades. So second one that I like to take is the previous day high and low, okay? And then we have the pre-market high and low in orange, okay? So after that, I like to take the London session high and low. The London session low was today here was actually the same as the pre-market low, okay? It was the same orange here. They overlap, which is actually creates a very important signal as well. Every time you see levels overlapping like this, that's creating additional. It's confluence, right? It's additional signals for your entries. And so on top of that, I like to take 2 additional levels that I keep track during the New York session. So first of all, the New York session is started right here, okay? In this line here, which is 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So when New York session starts, I keep track of the first 15 minutes high and low, which is the yellow range, okay? So that's until 9:45, okay, a.m. The time here on my charts are different because that's mountain time, just so you know. And I also like to keep track of the initial balance, which is the first hour of the New York session, okay? Which is the blue line. But again, you're only going to trade this after the first hour has been formed. Same for the 15-minute range, all right? So with that in mind, you can see that the price already started giving us some clues that you will not see much in terms of movements, right? So when New York started, we were still under the London range, okay? We have not done much in terms of breaching that level. We were actually flirting with the pre-market low, okay? Actually, during the session, we did break that a little bit, so the pre-market low. So again, bears were definitely in control. And let's see here in terms of how we took advantage of the trades during this session. So, by the way, this moving average here is the exponential moving average. It's 100 exponential moving average. And again, it's the 5,000 tick chart. Okay. So during the session that started here, so this first touch here, you don't count this because that's before the 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes. So the first 15 minutes got formed right here. Let me just see here. Yeah, right here around this area, okay? And then this was the first touch to the bottom of the 15-minute chart, okay? There was a break and potentially a retest for an entry, okay? So I don't like this. You could potentially take a short off this inverted pin bar, but I don't like that it closed a little bit higher than the previous one. You would need to close red for me to take a trade. And if you were to take this trade, it's something that I've considered this during my live session today. The risk reward would be very poor. It would be below 1-to-1 because you have the pre-market low and London low right here, very close, okay? And as you can see, the price bounced back after touching here. So that would not be a trade for me. So then the price started coming back up. Okay, it was a break again here. And came here and gave you a nice, perfect pin bar. Okay, you could have taken this as a long. Okay, it's a break and retest. The problem is it's counter trend. Okay, if you assume this downtrend that you have here in this session. Okay. That also have been a no. It's almost like a neutral one. I might have even taken this with a lower risk, okay, but I didn't take it during my session. And yeah, so and then price resumed the move towards the top here, and then it went through. This is the high of the first 50 minutes, okay, and as you can see, it formed a beautiful inverted pin bar here. Okay, it's a bearish pin bar. Okay, the IB range was not formed at this time. Okay, it needed 5 minutes to form, but in the end, this turned out to be the top of the first hour. Okay, the IB high. But anyway, I took a trade off this inverted pin bar. I actually took 2 trades here. The first trade I took was off this pin bar, and then I moved my stop break even a bit too early. Got stopped out on a break-even trade, and then I got a second signal here on a lower time frame. Was the 2,000 tick chart? Okay, was engulfing candle, and I took the trade entry roughly here. Okay, turned out to be an amazing trade. So as you can see, so you take the trade here, and I rolled that trade until around here. Okay, and then it was a pullback, and I just decided to close the trade. So that was the main trade that I took during the day. The main trade, probably the best trade during this session, okay, off the 15-minute high, the range, in the direction of the trend of this session. Okay, beautiful. Okay, it was a major, probably a 1-to-4 risk reward, something like that, or 1-to-3 risk reward. So very good trade, and everything lined up again. I have the location. Okay, it's a key point. Of support in this case here, or resistance, and I have the direction is clear, and I have an entry signal. Okay, you have 3 signals here, 3 criteria points that have been met to take this trade. And then, so once you got back down here, okay, so usually I like to take the first 2 hours of the New York session. Ideally the first 90 minutes, okay, and then I might take as well the power hour, which is the last hour. Not as often. Okay, so anyway, price came back down here, and then it broke the initial balance low. Okay, also broke the previous day low, and then here gets a little bit tricky. You could potentially go long based on this pin bar, but again, it's also a counter trend. You see that the moves for the longs are not usually as good as the moves when you're short in the market here because of the overall trend, right? So I could have done that. It's a beautiful pin bar, very close to this key area here. Okay, 2 major lines of confluence. Anyway, we came back up, and then we broke that for a retest. I don't see any signals here, and again, it would be counter trend. And then came back down, and then here you could potentially go short on this engulfing candle here. Okay, It's not perfect engulfing candle because it doesn't overlap the first one, but does overlap the body, right? But again, you have the issue, the risk reward. So I will not take this one because, again, we have these lines of confluence here. Okay, and then same thing as well. And then come here, another short, okay, in a key area. That's a 15-minute low. So you could go short here if you want because that's a beautiful engulfing bar. But again, you barely get a 1-to-1 here. I probably want to not take in this area, okay? Coming back down again. So I don't see any signals. That's an engulfing candle. You could potentially go long with the issue that you might have some resistance here, but could potentially work. Okay, so yeah, that would have worked. I will not take trades in between these areas. Okay, don't like that. They usually have a lower probability. Okay, so here I don't see any signals to do anything here. No trading zone for me. And this was actually after 1 p.m. my time here, which is way late in the session. Okay, so I would have finished by then, way early. So again, the only really trade that's worth, from my perspective here, that was worth in this session was taking this short here at the top. Okay, and overall was a very slow moving market. We stay mostly inside this tight range here. Okay, during the entire session, and that's it. So this all the movement now that happened is post New York session. Okay, this is already my time. This is already at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And that's it. I hope this was helpful. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I have another live session trading tomorrow. Everything that I have described here, I took live this morning, just so you know. Thank you.